Welcome back to another episode of Unofficially Reviewed. We're your hosts, Nate and Tim, and we are going to be reviewing this Netflix series, Blood and Water. I was calling it Water and Blood, but apparently that's not the name. It's called Blood and Water. It's on Netflix now. There are 3 seasons.
Third season
yes,
just came out. Yep.
3 seasons. Okay, so there are 3 seasons to watch. We're going to be reviewing the first season, and we're doing this also in recognition of Black History Month, which is the month of February. This Blood and Water series on Netflix is takes place in South Africa. Is that right?
Cape Town.
I think it's South Africa, right? Cape Town.
Yep.
Cape Town. Yeah. Okay. I didn't know that. So there you go. So Tim, let me know, what did you think of the show? Blood and Water.
I don't know what it was, but like the whole idea of looking for some, one's family member, and it kind of, it gets at me because like she was looking for her sister, and like I have a sister somewhere out there. So, and it was interesting, and her friend is crazy as hell.
Like all of those people. Wait. Okay. So listen. Okay. So spoilers. Spoiler alert. Like we're not gonna be hiding anything here.
Right.
But like normal in our reviews. But so the show, like, tell us what the synopsis of the show is. Like, just briefly, what is the show about?
Well, in the first season, it's about a girl that I can't think of her name right now.
Yeah, right. It's I had it and I was remembering it and I could not remember. I had to look it up.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah. Go ahead.
So she's looking for her long lost sister. She believes this girl that goes to this school. Yeah. Pulang, yeah. This girl that goes to the school that she's in is her sister. And so she's starting this investigation, and she's dragging people into this investigation.
So she actually doesn't go to the school that
Not
the
yet.
girl goes to.
Yeah.
Not yet. Yeah.
Yeah.
She ends up transferring. So mainly because she wants to get closer to this girl.
Exactly.
So like that's actually the whole synopsis. The idea is she wants to find her long lost sister from birth.
Because they keep celebrating that her sister's birthday. If I had somebody that I would celebrate their birthday and I didn't know who they was, it would probably strike my interest to find this person.
Yeah, because it was really hard on the mom, because the mom was like, she was the one kind of promoting this whole let's like remember her, but it makes sense because like she gave birth to this girl and then this girl disappeared. She gave birth to her baby. Like that would be traumatizing for her. I think that would be traumatizing for her parents. So especially for the mother who carried that child. So yeah, I totally understand that. During the course of the season, though, she ended up like letting that go. Like she wants to move on, basically, because thanks to her daughter Pulang. So
Yeah.
What do you think about that? You think that was a good idea, or?
I think so. When I saw that, I was saying, I was like, how could you? I think that was like, I don't know. Like, how could you like all this time for this girl's life? You're celebrating this other girl's birthday, right? And then all of a sudden you're like, something. Let's just back off of that. Yeah, it's like, it's like, wait.
Yeah.
You've been stirring me up all this time. Now you just like you pumping the brakes out. Well,
yeah. It's true. They didn't. I don't know. It's kind of hard to. It's true. There was a lot. Well, what did you think? Okay, so first, what did you think of the whole storyline? Like, for the season 1, what did you think of the storyline?
As
like
in,
it? Not
I
like
liked
could it
it.
have been
I
better?
mean,
Yeah,
I liked it. There were. I'll say this. There were some. Like in every story, there's some lame things in there that you just let that slide right off your brain. Just like, okay, I'm not gonna pay attention to that. You know.
yeah, yeah. For the
it,
sake of enjoying this show, I'm
yeah,
just gonna ignore that.
yeah, exactly. It's like that
Yeah.
doesn't make
Hmm.
sense, but whatever. I'm just gonna let that
Yeah.
go to the
I feel
left.
you. I feel you.
Uh, but I like this. I like the story. I liked, like the first in this season, she's like super aggressive at like getting information. Like I'm
She is
like
right.
she's like just using people. I'm just like,
Like reckless, like reckless.
it's like
Like that's what I was thinking. I was thinking that I was like, what is this girl is just destroying people's lives and just
right.
like I understand like I understand the desire like you were saying you have a sister out there so like I understand like wanting to know if this is that person and stuff like that but at the same time like she was keeping so this is one thing that I just really hate because this is the only thing this is what writers use to kind of like draw out stories is just keeping all of these secrets. And I'm like, you know what? If I think the sign of a good writer is when you kind of step outside of the status quo and still make that story interesting. And
Hmm.
that's what I felt about it. I felt like the story concept was really, I was not expecting that, So I thought the story concept was really well done, like thought out. But then I thought the execution of it, where they're just like like she has to keep all of these secrets, and it just doesn't make any sense to do so. Like I felt like that was just kind of cliche, just seen it a
Yep.
million times
Like I
before.
said, there were some cliche things. I just let it slide right off. So like,
Yeah,
it's okay.
and that's what you have to do. Like in order to enjoy this show, which I thought was really well, I thought it was really well acted.
Hmm.
Did you think that they acted well, or?
Yeah, I did. One thing I do like
Yeah.
about it, and I
Hmm.
can't remember the name. I asked my friend, what was the name of the language that they keep throwing in there when they're talking?
It wasn't Afrikaans.
Nope.
No. Yeah,
Because
because I
it's a
was wondering
because
what
they have a
language that
click.
was too.
It's that click sound, and
Oh, I don't know.
but it's like, man, I love when they just throw that in there just naturally. It's like the way they
Yeah.
do it. It feels natural. So I
Yeah.
like that. Though I hate reading, but I'm glad they always did it in times where it wasn't like, like action. They wasn't like speaking in that language when there's like
Yeah. So
action
you have
going on.
to read the subtitles.
Yeah,
What is
just
they saying?
yeah,
And
there's
listen
something
to
happening.
action.
Yeah.
So let's see. I googled it,
Hmm.
and it says that Um, characters flip in and out. This is on some website called TV Tropes.
Hmm.
It says characters flip in and out of languages such as Zulu,
Yeah.
uh, Xhosa, I think that's how you pronounce that,
Hmm.
Afrikaans, Sesotho, I don't know how to pronounce that, and Shona.
Okay, so that makes sense. Most Africans that I know that grew up in Africa, they know at least like three or four languages off the top of their
Yeah.
head. So
Hmm.
yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Okay. So the yeah, I like that too. I like that that's kind of one of the things that kept it authentic. Um, yeah, I appreciate that. I also was appreciating I was appreciating the guys in there. I was like, yes. Oh, speaking of which, the guy, what's his name? Chris, is his name Chris or was it? I think his name was Chris, right? Or was that the girl's name?
For wait, which guy? I
The
mean,
the guy who was pansexual or he
oh,
is pansexual.
I can't think of his
I felt like that's
name.
his name. I think his
It
name
might
was
be.
Chris.
Yeah, it might be.
But well, like, did you think that they were jerks? Because like it was. Oh wait, hold up. I'm gonna see if I can find the cast here. Here we go. Cast. So
Yeah, I just brought up the
His
cast.
name, yeah, his name was Chris Ackerman.
Yeah.
So he played. So Amo Grief, that's the actor. He
Hmm.
played the character Chris Ackerman, and he was supposed to be pansexual. Did you recognize that?
I
Like that was in
mean,
the first season. I haven't
I
seen the other
mean,
season, so
they didn't hide that, so I'm.
no, they didn't. Well, they didn't hide it until the end. They hid it until the end. Like they hid it until like the last 3 episodes or 4 episodes.
Oh, okay. I didn't notice
Because
that they
before he
hid it.
was in the first few episodes, he was like flirting with girls, right? So that's all you heard. And then he got with Puleng's friend, right?
Yeah.
But then he started in the fourth episode. If I'm or sorry, how many episodes are there actually in the first season? I mean,
In the first
let's
season,
see here.
you got
In the
me.
first season, let's see, that's season 2. That's 6 episodes. There's 6 episodes. So in the third, it's either in the third or fourth episode, he meets this guy Mark, and they
Mm.
make it seem like he's always known him or something like
Was
that.
he like an
Let's talk
underclassman?
about the pansexual. You said what?
Was he like like an underclassman too?
Yeah, he's an underclassman and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Yeah, so
Okay.
he met they started talking about him, or he met, he got brought into it or whatever, and that's when they mentioned that he was pansexual and that he and their definition of pansexual just meant that he falls in love with the person rather than their gender,
Hmm.
right? That's what it was. But they kind of portrayed it more in a sexual manner rather than in
I
a
mean, it's a high school thing.
which which is what I told myself. Which I told myself I was like, you know what? But at the same time, he is like running high on like they're all running high on hormones, right?
It's a high school thing.
So obviously this is going to be. But like, what did you think about that portrayal?
I think it's fine. I didn't care. I was like, man, okay, this guy's out here doing this thing. What, you know?
Like, did he catch you off guard or something? Or
Uh, not really. I
no?
mean,
It caught
like
me off guard.
they
I
caught you
wasn't
off guard.
expecting it.
You wasn't
Yeah,
expecting it
I wasn't
because it's an
expecting
African
it.
show.
No.
I
I
mean,
mean, I hadn't thought of it like that,
I
but
mean,
maybe
to me,
I
maybe
don't know.
that's the elephant in the room on that one. But
I
I
mean, oh
just,
wait, okay, well, I got a question for that, but
uh,
like, no, it. I I was assuming someone was going to be from like the LGBTQ plus community. I just didn't. I thought it was going to be him, but in after the first 3 episodes, um, when he was like interested in the girl, I was like, But obviously, that's just me being short minded and be like, oh, he's got to be gay. Like, no, there's all these sexualities existing. So, like, let's just, work with it. I was very excited that they brought in a different, a different sexual orientation.
yeah, it wasn't. It's not
So
just the typical, left or right on that.
yeah, yeah, it's not
right.
just like lesbian or gay or
Yeah,
bisexual. Like they really went to Pan, and then he tried to initiate a thruple. I am very interested to see how that goes. You don't tell me anything
I'm not.
because Tim has seen all 3 seasons,
Yes.
and I have only seen the first season. So we're going to work on that. But I did have a question about what had you because like what brought you to the show? Like
So,
what made you want to
okay.
watch it?
So I'll tell you this now, and part of this is going to be funny. So
And the other
my
part, I
wife and
better
I, at
blow
the
my brains
time,
out. Okay.
yeah, and my wife and I, we always, I always try to I always try to find a good African show that I can support. It's hard.
African specifically?
African specifically, yes, because
Okay.
I realized,
That sounds very like specific.
yeah, well, because okay, let me ask you a question: how many African shows did you grow up watching?
None.
Right,
I've never seen
exactly.
except for maybe like Shaka Zulu or
That's an
something like
African
that. I
show.
think that was a movie. Was
It's
that
a
well, it was
movie,
an African
but
movie?
yeah, see,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so like, and when I did find African shows,
Mm-hmm.
they always, some of them, a lot of them were, they always had this cringy things in them.
Like, I mean, I've never seen any,
Oh
as we
gosh,
just
like
established.
okay,
So,
so like me and my wife was watching the show. I'm not gonna say the name of it because I can't remember the name, right?
okay.
But this woman, she's something wrong with her. She's not able to have children, right?
Okay.
So
Mm-hmm.
she's looking for someone to marry, and that's typically most African shows. They're trying to marry somebody,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
And so she's going on these dates, and these guys are just ridiculous. It's like, look, and she knows it. These guys are ridiculous. They're not listening to her. All they do is
Mm-hmm.
talk about themselves,
Mm-hmm.
and uh, and they're like they're just not, they're not good guys. Okay,
Okay.
so
Okay.
she goes to the doctor, and to get this to have this scan done, and because I forget what she has that she can't have children, but she goes to the
Okay.
doctor for that, to see the progress of it, if anything's happening with it, and she's going to this doctor, and the doctor's just getting on her. He's talking about he's talking about his daughter or something like that, and he's just telling her what to do all the time, right? So
Okay. He's telling this woman what to do.
she's his patient. He's just telling her what to do, you know,
Okay.
you know, and
That's weird.
yeah, it's weird. That's what I was saying. My wife was like, "Yeah, that's weird, right?" Okay. At the end of this movie, he's like, "I love you," and I'm like, "What?
Of course.
What?
Like
What?
that would be
What?
super
That's the
predictable.
end. Wait. All this you've been just bickering at this woman this whole time, and then now you're just in love with her, and what? That doesn't make
Oh
any
my
sense.
goodness.
And
Yeah.
that's literally how it kind of ended. It was like, wait, so this
Okay.
woman's going around seeing all these horrible men. The doctor's just bickering at her, telling her what to do all the time, talking about his daughter, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then at the, he's like, "I
Mm-hmm.
love you, and we should get married." And they get married, and that's the end of the movie.
Oh my
I
goodness.
I
That
laughed
sounds like
and
that
cried
sounds like
so
B
hard.
rated.
Me and my wife, we was on the couch dying so
Oh my
hard I
goodness.
couldn't walk down the hallway because I couldn't get that concept out of my head. There's more to it, but I just couldn't. I was like, "This is so dumb and cringy." There was
Yeah.
good parts in there, like when she was hanging out with these girls. They was funny. They was funny, and then when she was in this women's group, but
Mm-hmm.
the way it ended was like, no, they'd rushed that. They shotgunned that ending. It's like, do you realize that you have 10 minutes left in this movie now? You need to
Right.
wrap this up. And it was just so cringy the way it ended. It was like, this is not that's not how this should have ended.
Yeah, that's bad. Don't tell me the name. I don't want to watch
It's on Netflix.
it. Is it?
Yeah.
There is a show that's on Netflix, another like African show that's on Netflix,
Mhm.
but I don't recall. It's like How to Ruin Christmas or something like that.
Oh wow.
Did you see that?
No.
No. Okay.
But I might have to watch that now.
Yeah, I started it, but I didn't finish it. So that actually, I lied. That is a African show that I had started to watch.
All
I
right.
feel like maybe I have seen more than just those two. Then whatever. Okay, so you've been actively seeking out
Yes.
African shows.
And so
Okay.
when I saw
Do
this,
you feel like some kind of pull towards
yeah. So
Africa?
well, of course. I mean, I grew up. Okay. I'll put it this way. I grew up in 2 or 3 different factions. So I grew up in the first faction when I
Factions.
was young, where I had this dumb idea, that Africans were always trying to fight me, and that whole African American African struggle thing back in the day.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
real. It was real.
Listen, I ain't gonna naysay you.
Yeah, it was real. Especially in the '90s, it was real. You
Okay,
know, uh,
I'll take your word for it.
like, and then and then I actually met Africans. When I was younger. You know,
Hmm.
um, like in when I was like 19, 20. You know, I have some
Hmm.
good friends now. They're African,
Yeah.
and my whole and my mind just expands with it.
Okay.
And my
Hmm.
understanding expands. And I felt
Hmm.
horrible for what I was when I was a kid. But we all mature, so be it.
Hopefully.
So hopefully, uh, so I wanted to find some good um, African, uh, and I'm not like some I can watch,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
I
not
feel you. I
not
feel
because
you.
I'm trying to be like I'm not about to be walking around in dashikis and stuff like that. That's not what I
Okay.
mean. I'm just
Yeah.
I'm just a black man want to watch some African shows. That's
Okay.
all.
Listen.
You
Listen.
know.
I ain't judging you.
I my friends. I got Korean friends, and and they watch Korean shows.
Hmm.
I don't want to watch BET. So I
No.
I want
I
to watch
mean, I
some.
stopped watching BET decades ago, literally. So.
Yeah, because well, yeah, like when you want American black shows when I was
Hmm.
younger, not so much now, but when I was
Hmm.
younger, if it wasn't a show about rap, hip hop, and sex, it didn't matter. It didn't
Hmm.
exist. It was.
Yeah. Well,
It's,
they tried. I mean, like they had the Living Single that was out. That
Living Single, yeah, that
um,
was a good show. I used to watch it.
that was a good show. I used
Yeah,
to love watching that. But I love Queen Latifah. Oh my
yeah,
goodness, she is definitely a queen. Like she
right,
carries herself just her and Angela Bassett. My goodness, if I got to meet those two, like talk to them, it's like yeah, I'd be happy. I'd be a happy man.
right.
I mean, I'm already happy, but I'd just be happier. Yeah. Okay. So okay. I was going to ask you another question about Blood and Water because um, what was what was I going to ask you? It was like I kept what was it? I am surprised that it got 3 seasons though. Did
Why?
that surprise you?
No,
No,
no.
because Netflix like to be cutting things. Like they just be liking
Yeah,
to
well,
chop things up.
I'll be
You know?
surprised if it gets a fourth season. That's what I'll
Yeah.
say. Because Netflix, they have this dumb thing, except unless you're Stranger Things, where all their shows are contained in 3 seasons. If you notice that,
Really?
yeah, most of their shows, not all of them, but the majority of them
Mm-hmm.
are like 3 season streams. Lately, they've been pushing out to that fourth and that fifth season. But man,
Man, like getting past the first season has been really difficult for a lot of shows. Like, what do you call that? What's the name of that show? Oh man, it was like this vampire versus vampire hunter show. It's like a, it was like a black family and a white family, and the
I
two
don't know.
daughters like it just did not go.
That's probably
They
why,
just
because nobody
to
watched it.
be honest though, it could have had better acting. But they were young, so I also thought maybe they just needed to kind of like grow into their spot.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just my opinion.
It was probably yeah. So
But it didn't get a second episode,
it's
second
probably
season. It
because it
all
didn't
got
score
cut.
well. Okay, so here shows
It did
that.
score well. Listen, it scored better than Heartstopper, which it had more viewing time and stuff than
Mhm.
Heartstopper, which got renewed for 2 seasons all at once. So it's one of those things that started a huge debate, like this argument or whatever.
I wonder if it's this where Heartstopper when they was proposing that show that
When they were,
they negotiated for um, a threshold for a second season.
I don't know.
You know what I
I
mean?
don't know. I did some sort of research. I mean, I don't want to turn this into a Heartstopper thing because I could talk for years about that. But I was researching it and they were like, well, the finished viewing time for Heartstopper was higher than it was, or sorry, it was over 50%, and the the finished viewing time for this show was under 50% or something like that. So that's what they were saying was an issue. But to be honest, I don't really know. So, but like it's very rare I have seen for Netflix shows to get a second season. That's why I was shocked that it did get a second season.
Yeah.
You know, so
Well, and then I guess that just it shows the power of a decently written script with
yeah, it was decent.
African, yeah, decently
The
written,
storyline, the
yeah,
storyline was great.
yeah.
The the writing was could have been a
It could have
little
been
bit
better.
better.
Yeah,
It could have been
I would say
better,
that,
but yeah,
but it was still
it was
decent
very
enough where I could watch
predictable.
it.
Yeah, it was. I just the reason why I didn't watch it all the way through because I started, stopped it, started, stopped it because just that's how I do. I just don't watch shows or movies. Movies I'll watch all the way through if it's really a movie that grasps my attention. Otherwise, well, it's not interesting to me. So, okay. So, what would you give? What type of rating out of 10 would you give this show, this series? Just the first season, though.
The first season,
Yes.
okay, so the first season, everything that was in there was hardcore. It's just it was hardcore, especially
Okay.
her like I don't know. It was a high school. It was really high school. So but I would say this. I'll give it a 6 out of 10.
Wow, that's really harsh.
That's the first season, though. And
Well,
but see,
you're
here's the
not.
thing. That's
This is why
also
I said just the first season. You can't
yeah. But
compare it to
see,
the other seasons.
I can't not compare. That's what I'm gonna say. I
You have
can't
to
not
look at
compare
it
it.
as though it was the only season
I can't do
that
that.
existed.
I
You
can't. I
got
can't just
to.
put.
You
I can't
got
put
to
it in a box.
expand your mind, man.
I
Like,
can't put it in a box.
because if you give, let me say, if you give this season like uh, take, so let's just assume that the people that are listening to us or watching
Hmm.
us, right? They have never even heard of this show. If you give the show a 6
They
because you
won't watch it.
compared it to the rest three of the 3 seasons, nothing's going to entice them to watch it. But if you take it out of its season and it still has a 6, then obviously
Okay,
they're
so
not
if
going to
I
be
could,
enticed to
okay,
watch it.
if I was gonna compare it, I mean, if I
No,
was
you don't.
not going
No.
to compare it
Yes. Hmm.
to anything else I've seen when it comes to this
Yes.
show,
Yes. Well, you can compare it to other shows, but just
no,
not
I'm
to
saying
this.
to this show specifically.
Okay. Yes. Yes. Hmm.
Um, so the other seasons, I mean, I would give it 8.
Okay. That's totally different. I mean, it's 2 points, but I mean, because I was
I
like
mean,
telling
so
myself that
the
I
reason
don't
why I
think
said
it
that
deserves a 6,
the
but
reason why I'm saying
it's
an 8 is because
yeah,
okay, the stuff we just discussed,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
the
I agree.
writing, some of
Hmm.
the writing was like, it was like you say, it was kind of predictable,
Yeah.
and but the things that to me that kept it going
Hmm.
was how aggressive she was in this whole thing. She was just doing her friends in and just
Yeah.
I was like, why are you doing this? It was
She
that
was
kind of
just
thing.
so yeah. And that was one of the things that was just really frustrating me about her is because she not oh my goodness, just not only just the secrets, but like yeah, she was
Yeah,
just doing everybody in just so dirty, left, right, and center. And then she's like, "Oh, I didn't mean to." Could you not sit back for a second and like reflect on your actions before you did this? Like,
yeah.
how was it? I
And
don't
then her
understand
friends,
how
though, her friends were like, she was like, "Oh, I'm sorry."
friends.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. She was like, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that." And they're like, "Okay." I was
yeah,
like,
like it's
"What?"
just yeah, yeah. But that's TV trope right there. That's if you want a trope, that's what it is. Like you do as much bad as you want to, as long as you say I'm sorry, everything is forgiven. They're like, yeah, we understand. No, we don't understand. You crazy. You cray.
Yeah, and that's the thing. She was really coming off kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Um,
But
and then
also
like
understandably so, right? Because her dad's was being
crucified
yeah.
in the news.
Yeah, exactly. Like so you could understand her wanting to but I don't think anybody I don't know. Anyways, I do think yeah, so I would have given it I think I would have given it like I mean I give it a 7. Maybe 7.5. I give it a 7.5, yeah.
Wait, you just got it.
Huh?
Okay, I'll accept that.
It's just because the writing could have been like I feel like they just used too many tropes, you know? Like I feel like they used too many predictable situations when the storyline itself wrote itself, you know? Like they didn't have to do much more. I mean, granted they had to stretch it over like 6 seasons, right? Which would have been
You mean
perfectly
6
fine.
episodes?
Oh, sorry, 6 episodes. Yeah, it's perfectly fine, but they just didn't have to resort to things that, like you said, that were just too predictable. Like it was just too predictable, and I'm just like, come on, you got a juicy story here. Like you work with it, and got really good actors. Like work with that, you know. But whatever. That's why it's like a 7. That's a 7.5. If the story, if the writing was better, that would totally get like a 9 or maybe even a 10.
Yeah, and
Actually,
then
should I give it an 8? Maybe I should give it an 8. Yeah, I'll change it to an 8. I'll change it to an
okay.
8. Yeah, because I mean, I do agree. If it wasn't just for this kind of crappy fill-in writing, it would be a really good. It was a really other than that, it was a really good show. I think
Yeah,
so.
because I liked
I
so
highly recommend it.
I liked. There's a lot of things about it I liked. Like I like the school that they go to. I don't know why, but something about like seeing like when they showed like the building and the rooms that these things take place,
Hmm.
it grabs my interest. Like so, I like that prep school, and it's not just like it's like a like it's like a rich prep school. So I like the fact that it takes place there.
Well,
You
have you
know,
seen Elite or Elite or however that's pronounced?
nope,
Like they're coming out with all these shows that have pretty much the
prep
same.
school.
Yeah, it's a rich prep school sort of thing.
Mm.
That's what's happening here. In Elite, it's the same thing, or Elite, however. And that's a Spanish show.
Oh, okay.
Ask your wife if she's heard of that.
I'll check it out and I'll
Yeah,
ask her about it.
yeah. It has
But
6 seasons. It's really good. But that's they have a lot of predictability in that show as well. And then apparently there's an Indian version of it now.
wow.
Yeah, which I haven't
But
watched. So.
well, but it's not that it's just like rich. I like that the fact that even though that all these kids are in this prep school,
Hmm.
they're not actually all at the same level.
Yeah. Hmm.
You know, they just
Yeah.
they
Watch Elite.
go to this prep school, but they're not all rich.
Yeah.
So you
Hmm.
have your kids that are rich and they act ridiculous, and
Hmm.
they're ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then you have your kids who are just they ain't on that scholarship. They they, that's the only
Yeah.
reason they're there because they got something.
Yeah. Hmm.
Um,
Yeah. I know.
so and I like that aspect of it, and and I like the fact that it's just a different view. Even though there's an Indian girl there, 2 Indian girls,
Yes. Yep. Hmm.
and
2 Indians. I
yep,
know that there's one, which is the girl that has a, a crush on. I forgot his name. Right? Was she
yeah,
Indian?
yep,
Um, I forgot his name. Chad. Is his name Chad? No, his name is not Chad.
no,
Chad is the guy, the cheater.
no, no, you're talking about the guy that likes Pulane.
Wade. His name is Wade.
Wade.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Hmm.
like his character. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. I liked
I
his character as well.
yeah, he's
But again, that was very predictable. But predictable, like you knew it was
Yeah,
it fits, you know, sort
yeah.
of
But I
thing.
like the
So
way he portrays the character, though.
yeah,
So
yeah,
it was he's like he's that comic relief, but he's not too cheesy.
yeah,
But he's seen yeah. So I like that.
yep, yeah.
Um,
I could fit.
so but like so I like that there's different types of characters in here that are different levels, you know, and they all have their own like struggle, kind of why they're
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
So and that all that kind of that like I don't like shows where you like where they go to this elite school and everybody's elite and they have elite problems. I don't like that. I
Dude, you should watch Elite.
yeah,
Watch Elite,
I
man.
feel like I'm just
But it's in subtitles unless you dub.
uh,
It is dubbed, but it's
yeah.
trust me, it's a really good show. It's the same thing. I don't know if you'll be like interested in it, but I like it. We should
I mean, I might
do a
watch the dub
review on
version.
Elite, but I
What?
know Kristen doesn't like reading his stories. I mean his
Yeah,
shows.
shows. Yeah, there's something about reading a story. I mean, a show. It's like
Yeah, so I don't mind it.
if I wanted to read it, I would have got the book. I,
I think I don't know. Anyways, yeah. Well, that is all that we've got for this episode of Unofficially Reviewed. Check the show out on Netflix. Blood and Water again is the name, and it has 2 more seasons, so it has a total of 3 seasons. I also wanted you all, speaking of Netflix, I wanted you all to check out this Twitter page called Strong Black Lead. So it's at Strong Black BLACKLEAD Strong Black Lead. It's a Twitter page dedicated to to strong black leads. If you want to get specific about it, like just bringing to light, black actors or black storylines and stuff like that. I just started following it on my personal account, so I thought it would be. I thought it was very interesting. It has a Netflix kind of logo on it, but I don't know if they are supported by Netflix. So that's
that'd be
to be
interesting.
seen. I haven't done any deep dives. They just brought to my attention some people that I didn't know who they were. Like the show what do you call that? Glass Onion. Janelle Monet, I think that's how you pronounce it. She's in this show. So, anyways, check that out and make sure to check us out also on our social medias. So we are on. Let's see, we're on Twitter, we're on YouTube, and just everywhere. We're on Instagram as well. And you can also see our podcast on anchor.com. I think it's anchor.fm, right? Unofficially opinionated. And on the other, like Spotify and Google Podcasts and stuff like that. So we're on all of those. If you do find a podcast that we're not on, please let us know in our comments so that we can sign our podcast up for that. Excuse me. There was one more thing I wanted to mention. Oh yes, don't forget to like and subscribe. That is important. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
That's what I was gonna
Okay?
say.
Yeah. All right, so that's all we got. We will see you all next time for another Unofficially Reviewed. Ciao.
Sure.